thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up. Bang! Quality over quantity. LeBron has beaten some of the best competition in NBA history. He's the GOAT emoji. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Brian Snow Show. I want to welcome you all to the show and thank you for tuning in. I got a new microphone here, in case you can't tell, and I'm making adjustments as we go along. So welcome, and I want you to help me welcome as we get right into our subject this afternoon. Mr. Chris Dietz, who has graciously pinch hit for several times now, and he's pinch hitting this afternoon. What up, Dietz?
What's going on, Snowman?
Okay, I gave you a lob for a dunk that is simply too easy, and you and I think the exact same way when it comes to this subject. But the question has been asked, which is better, the USFL or the XFL? And the reason I want to tackle this is because, and this is why I wanted to bring you on, because A, you tell it like it is, and I love you for it. B, I always love your thoughts on both leagues. And C, as I said before, we kind of think and feel the same way. So I'm going to let you have at it first. So, which one do you want to start with first?
It's an easy answer. It's an easy answer.
All right.
All you have to do is look at who's showing up.
Mm-hmm.
The USFL can't even get people to fill the stadiums.
Or at least try to fill the stadiums. At least try.
It's psychology.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you're watching an event and nobody's in the crowd watching it, general human psychology goes, well, if nobody's watching this, then why am I?
Yeah.
That's basically the issue that the USFL has, is that when you watch it on television, it's such a different experience when you're sitting there watching it and there's nobody in the crowd.
Yeah,
there might be like 5 people behind the players.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you look at the end zones, there's absolutely nobody.
No.
And I don't know. I don't know enough about the USFL to know what it is they're actually doing. Like, how do they make money if they're not selling tickets to these things? Is it just off the TV rights? Because why even have cities?
Mm-hmm.
Why even have, like, why is your team the Pittsburgh Maulers if they don't play in Pittsburgh?
Right.
It makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. At least the XFL, you have games. You have the San Antonio, the Brahmas, the Rocks team.
Mm-hmm.
You at least have the games played in San Antonio,
and there's a crowd.
Where there's a crowd. There's people there's people who are energized about watching a football game in their city.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the USFL doesn't have that because all the games are played in Birmingham and Columbus, or wherever I know they played the championship in Columbus last year. So
yeah, 2 quick thoughts from Sam Just, who joins us this afternoon. USFL needs to step up ticket sales, and he backs it up with this. They made money from ads and TV rights. They sold the rights to NBC for, I can't believe this number, $200 million. But still, nobody is showing up for it, and hardly any, and basically hardly anyone's watching it. Your thoughts?
Eh, my thoughts are exactly that. If nobody's showing up to the stadium to watch it, again, watching it on TV, and the only time I watch it is at the bar, so I don't have sound.
Right.
I just get to watch the game. But you can tell when you look up and there's no crowd.
None.
You go, all right, well, if they're not watching it, I don't want to watch it. So it's just a psychology. You're gonna get diehard football fans who want to watch football. Yeah, right. They're gonna watch. The average person is not gonna. They're gonna say exactly what I just said. Is they're gonna go, nobody's watching this, so I'm not gonna do it.
Well, Sam just gave us this stat, and that's Sam Shady joining us here this afternoon. 2 million viewers for Saturday. So apparently a lot of people are watching it. Ryan McCoffey joining us. Their money is from TV revenue. That being said, the hub cities are getting a little stale. I agree with that. The league needs to play in the actual cities they represent starting in 2024. You got 2 of them. You got 3 of them already. Birmingham, of course, with the Birmingham Stallions, the defending champions. You have Ford Field in Detroit for the Michigan Panthers. And you have Memphis, Tennessee for the Memphis Showboats. So you got those, and everybody else just needs to be in their home city, especially Philadelphia, the runner-up from last year. What other changes can the USFL make to get some butts in the stands?
That's the rub. If you're gonna do it based on hub cities, you can't. There's no way to get people. I mean, if just imagine, just put yourself in that situation. If you live in Birmingham, Alabama,
right,
and you're watching, and again, the only real team I know is Pittsburgh, so I'll just call it because that's the only team name that I know. And you're watching the Pittsburgh Maulers play Philadelphia.
Play the Philadelphia Stars.
Why do you care? You don't care because it's in they have no connection to Birmingham, so nobody cares. That's the problem with playing in a hub city, and you have to do various hubs. You can't just do one. You can't just put people in one place and go, all right, we're going to play 4 games here. We're going to play 4 games there. We're going to play 4. You have to do one each. You have to do something new each time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to get, if it's just in one and if it's just in one place the entire time, people are going to pick and choose which games they want to go see.
Right.
And the games that don't involve anybody that they care about, they're not going to go.
They're not going to go see him. Absolutely. Sam, again, if they aren't in 8 cities in 24, it's a mistake, but that's also their goal. I thought they should have been in their home cities since the jump because you want to generate fan interest at the stadium. Maybe I'm wrong for thinking that way, but you want to generate fan interest at the stadium. Why aren't they doing that?
I mean, how many teams are in the USFL?
8.
There's 8, right?
8.
All right. So it should be on a rotational. It should be on some kind of a rotational basis. I mean, I get it. You don't want to have you. I get what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
To give them a little bit of credit. What they're trying to do is cut down on their production costs.
Right.
So that they have the hub city so that, all right, we can play multiple games in one one stadium. We don't have to send production crews to 8 different to 4 different state, to all the different places. I get that.
Right.
I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to have 8 teams, you have to change it up. It has to be, all right, we're going to play 2 games here. You're going to play 2 games. Then you're going to go to your home city and play 2 more games. And then go. And you can't just do them one place after another. Because, again, nobody's going to these games. And that's a problem.
So I like the rotational idea, which gives every team a chance to host a home game. I like that idea. But be that as it may, the goal is, as Sam just mentioned, and thank you, Sam, for jumping on this afternoon, is to have all 8 teams in their home city. Should that have been the case from the jump? Instead of using one hub city and now 4 hub cities, and then the goal is to expand to have all the teams in their home stadium. Should they have started with that?
I don't think they could have, and this goes back to the last version of the USFL, which we know was doing that exact thing, where they had different home games, they had travel, they had all of that stuff going on, and what happened? They ran out of money halfway through the season.
Yeah.
So that's the finances of traveling with a football team to get a football team from point A to point B. You have to move. Most of these teams have up to, you have to have at least 50 players to play to have a viable football team.
You have to.
Because you think about it, you got to have 22 starters, you got to have backups. That's right there.
On top
30,
of
at least 35. That's at least 35 players.
Yeah.
Add on
backups on top of backups.
Add on coaches, add on all the other things it takes to move that many people. It does take a good financial backing. So it makes sense for the first season to be, all right, we're going to do this. And not to mention, they started up in what was the tail end of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Which, which made sense for the hub cities, and it made sense to get a foot in the ground.
Right.
Now, but now we're out of the pandemic. Now that's not an excuse anymore.
Yeah, we're clear of the pandemic now.
Now you need to cultivate this in the cities that you're creating, or you just need to get rid of the city name. Like, why they have city names and don't play in their cities? It makes no sense.
Right.
So it just makes sense. Just call teams the team name.
The Showboats, the Maulers, the Panthers for Michigan, but Michigan's playing at Ford Field. The Stars for Philadelphia, and they're nowhere near Philadelphia right now. Quickly to the Fanatics feedback zone. As mentioned, Sam is with us. Victor Locke from Chicago. Dietz is with us from Virginia.
Drew is with us. Yeah.
Drew is with us as well. Drew is with us from Virginia. Thank you very much. Ryan McCarthy from Saratoga, New York, joining us as well. Sam offers his thoughts. That's why they went to 4 cities. And he brings up your point. Let's consider cost as well. I watched a program on what it takes to travel for an NFL team to travel, and how far in advance they make the travel plans. I mean, we're talking at least 6 months to a year in advance. And the day that they release a schedule is when they're getting all their travel plans together. And you mentioned the cost and what it would take, I beg your pardon,
to move an entire football team, what constitutes that football team. The other thing you have to think about from a technological standpoint is all the equipment that they need to communicate with their players. And Fox cut the cost down with all the innovation that they have, with all the drones and everything. They now have them, and they now have them in 4 cities. What can the USFL do to strengthen their travel plans and their travel schedule? Because if you go to 8 cities next year, and I'm hoping they do, you're going to incur some travel costs.
You've got to upset that cap. You've got to get that capital somewhere. And look, the hub city can, again, the hub cities can work.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to change it up in the season.
Yeah.
And I understand the travel expense. If you did it, all right, we're gonna play in these, we'll pick two or three cities. We're gonna play our games in those spots for the first 2 weeks. Yeah. Then we're gonna go to this. Then we're gonna go to three other places for the next 2 weeks. Then we'll go to the next places, so that everybody has their travel, everybody has their plan, but everybody gets to see their team.
Right.
And everybody gets to pick the game that they want to go to. That's the way to cultivate it. You get the kind of the best of both worlds, because you don't have to travel each and every week. You don't have 4 teams traveling back to where they have to go and practice every day. You have everything set up. You also have to take a look at, and it just boggles my mind of, I'm watching the game on Sunday where there's nobody at the stadium. Well, what are they paying for stadium costs?
Yeah.
What do they pay? Because the stadium there has to be operations costs for the stadium. There are people that have to be there. There's security that has to be there. There's all sorts of things that the stadium has to pay for all this. So I'm sure they charge the league
stadium workers as well.
A rent. I'm sure it's a rental fee or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's costs to everything. In this, and that's why it's hard as a startup to get these things going. And we've seen leagues start up before. We've seen them start up. We saw the USFL the first time around not even be able to make it to not even the championship. They didn't even make it to a playoff
in their 3rd year. Yeah, because by 85 they
to Ryan's most recent point. Well, you don't need concessions and beer, guys, if you don't have people at the stadium.
True.
So I guess they're saving on that. I don't know there, but that's the problem with the USFL is that just logistically watching it, the normal fan is psychologically going to tune out when they see it. These guys do great plays. We've seen great things happen. I saw a kickoff return for a touchdown the other day. It was a great play. It was a great play. There's no emotion in it because the only people cheering are the people on the field. There's no shots of the crowd. There's no shots of anybody else celebrating this.
Chris Vias joining us. He says exactly what I've been saying, and Michael Washington with a great point. The hubs are designed to eliminate as much overhead as possible and save the money on that side for the first few years. Now I get the point. They were never worried about the gate for the first 2 years. Mike, let me back this up with a question. Are they going to be worried about the gate next year? Because with the deal they have in place, advertising wise, you would think, they'd have something in place to work when everyone goes to their home city. Ryan with his point, security concessions, beer guys, and the like. And we'll get to the XFL after the break. Michael Washington, one more time. I think you're also missing the fact that in order to operate in their cities, they have to have dates available to practice and hold camps. That is so true. It's why the XFL had a hybrid system. For that hybrid system, well, we'll talk XFL after the break. But with the USFL having the championship game in Canton, you had said Columbus, and I thought Columbus, but it was in Canton, Ohio.
It's in Ohio.
Where
They're both in Ohio.
Yeah, they're both in Ohio. Lived in Columbus, been to Cleveland, told my tales about that. Been to Cincinnati, and I'm not far from Cincinnati. Haven't been to Canton yet. Plan to this year. But what can the USFL do to not only bring fans in? Because Sam said they got to step up their ticket sales. That's true. What else can they do besides step up their ticket sales? What else can they do?
The other thing that they could do that would be very quick is use people like Sam, who's on your network, does a great job covering the league. They need to get media. They need to get people out in the media. They need to get players out, and that's something that does not cost. That's something that does not cost anything.
Mm-hmm. And that's a suggestion you gave to me, and that's a suggestion I'm going to jump all over and send an email today. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to do it not only for the USFL but for the CFL as well, since I'm starting a show there. And you're right, they got to get some people out in the media, got to get some players and player interviews and everything. Sick Diggy joining us from Norway. Chris, where are you talking from so we can shout you out properly? The same with Michael Washington, so we can give you a proper shout out as well. Chris Bias says USFL has been talking all offseason about how they are going to get fans to the games. And I agree with you, Deeds. The media, the real media, needs to play a part in this. And Snowman Multimedia is going to play a part in this, because this afternoon I'm going to shoot an email to their communications director, and I'm going to take your suggestion, and I'm going to have you formulate the email.
There's plenty of platforms that you don't have to go through traditional media anymore. You don't have to go through the central hub that they have up in Bristol, Connecticut. You don't have to go through them. There are so many,
or the one in or the central hub in Los Angeles, and that network also. Yeah.
There's so many people that there's so many places that you can go to that you can hit these smaller markets, but that's where you have to make your money, because again, your goal should be to cultivate your sport, to cultivate your league. Yes, you need your diehards. Yes, you need the normies, though. You need the random person. The NFL isn't the NFL because it's not the biggest thing because people just love football. It's because people love football. They get their girlfriends to watch football. They get their friends and family to watch football. How many times have I been to? Again, I watch at the bar. How many times have I been to the bar where people are like, "Oh, I don't care about this game," but my boyfriend's a 49ers fan, so I'm watching the 49ers game. Like that. I've had that conversation with people a million times.
Yeah, I have it here in my household. We support two teams here in the household, as you know, the Colts and the 49ers. And Jody will tell me, I don't particularly care about the 49ers, but since you're a fan, I'm supporting you. Let me say hi to Chris Bias, who is in Massachusetts. Michael Washington is in Augusta, Maine, so we're getting fans all over the place. And Michael also offers the thought to answer your question. The gate will be a slow build next season over the host cities. They'll have a 2-year window to really focus on it, but the majority of their revenue is from TV revenue. Now I'm starting to understand. Snowman, I assume you live somewhere in California. San Francisco needs a team. Man, I wish. Chris, to answer your question, I'm from Chicago and I currently live in Indiana right now. Ryan McCarthy said, I think the USFL, XFL, and indoor leagues should embrace non-traditional media. Stop looking for the big payday from the networks. The real fans are on non-traditional media. And you're so right about that. Michael Washington, one more time, I would say 2 years after the hubs are eliminated, if the gate doesn't improve, the USFL should be worried. But right now, it's TV. They brought in 2.063 million viewers this week. I hope that number grows. I really do. I really hope that number grows.
The number sounds it sounds good, but 2 million viewers.
Yeah,
there are people that put and just for viewing alone. There are guys like the Critical Drinker that put a video out on YouTube and get 2 million views in about an hour. Yeah. I mean that. So you can sit there and say a broadcast network getting 2 million views.
Yeah, I think Michael offered a correction. He said that was
it's not really that much. It's not really that much. 2 million viewers is you look at an NFL game and this is just it's an apples and oranges comparison.
Yeah.
But an NFL game gets about 14 million viewers.
Yeah.
So you're getting 2 million. You're getting 2 million. Oh, yeah, okay. And like Sam said before, if they have a $2 million TV deal, I mean, 2 million to get 2 million viewers, and they're paying $2 million a season. That's at some point the network is going to say, we're not getting the revenue back from this. That deal is gonna either explode, or people are just gonna go, it's not worth the production costs.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely gonna contact them and take your suggestion and put a bug in their ear and put a bug in the CFL's ear as well. As CFL Weekly will make its debut next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Let's pause for a break and go ahead.
Before we go to break, I just want to adjust. And Michael, you're right. You can't compare the two. You can't compare to the NFL, who has an established thing. But I'm just using it to compare the numbers, because the numbers 2 million views to a person like me sounds fantastic. I'm like, oh, all right, 2 million people viewed it. But when you look at the larger scheme of things, 2 million people viewing in a country where we have over hundreds of millions of people,
right?
2 million is it's a drop in the bucket. It's not. It's not sustainable. It won't keep you. It won't keep you. Have to get that 2 million has to become 4 million real quick.
Yeah. It's just a comparison, and some things are in place to improve the not just the product, but improve a way to get the fans in place. And Sam said it at the top of the show. You gotta step up the ticket sales. Let's pause for a break, and when we come back, we'll break down the XFL, and we're gonna have a little fun, because I'm gonna share a couple of broadcast stories back after.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
I'm in another league, I'm a different breed. I'm everything you can never be. I'm next level. Next level.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing Next Level Pro Wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVNow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
Hey, y'all, Snowman here. Catch me, Cole Johnson, Wise El Jefe, and the usual cast of characters as we bring it to you every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern. It's called Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, and it's right here on CSTV and CSTVNow.com. Join us, won't you?
One of the great things about ordering meals from Mother of Macros is that you can do it from the comfort of your own home. Click the national or local delivery link to access the menu, and we'll ship the meals right to your door. We understand you won't always have time to plan, shop, prepare, and cook to provide healthy nutrition for your family, so the process is simple and saves you hours. We know you're busy, so our meals are professionally prepared and packaged. You only need to heat them up and enjoy. We provide macro-balanced, delicious meals chock full of fresh, local ingredients with none of the stuff you don't want to eat. Plus, our menu changes every week, keeping your taste buds wanting more. We take care of your meals so you can worry about everything else on your list. Mother of Macros.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Welcome back to this Tuesday afternoon edition of the Brian Snow Show. Thank you for joining us. I think I'm going to have Deeds join me every Tuesday, and we pick a great subject, and we just knock it down and break it down. Of course, you can see Deets every Thursday morning on Snowman in the Morning as we have Totally Deets. So it's Totally Deets Tuesday here on the program. And Deets, I got to throw you some love. I got to throw you some flowers. I want to thank you for believing in both my shows. And the story is this. Met Deets online, and he said, whenever you want to talk college football, let me know. I got your back. So 2018, right after I met my beautiful wife, or the woman who will become my wife, I said, let's go for it. Let's do it. And he said, how long are we talking? And I knew that wicked smile on his face. I felt it through the phone, and my stupid behind said, okay, we're going to talk 20 minutes. He said, all right, let me get my notes. You go take a nap, and we'll knock it out. I took a nap, and Jody woke me up with a phone call, and she says, don't forget your interview with Deets. We talked an hour before I realized what was, and that was a game night for me.
That was
we taped on a Friday night. We taped on a Friday night, and I was going to run it that Saturday, which I did. And we taped on a Friday afternoon, I beg your pardon, and it was a game night for me. Yeah, an hour went by, and Deets in the middle of it says, how long are we doing this? And I realized I had to get ready. I had to get ready to do the game at Ames Field in Michigan City. So, Deets, I want to thank you for being a big, big part of Snowman Multimedia. And we got some plans in the works where Deets and I are going to partner up to call college football this Saturday. We'll pick a matchup, we'll break it down, and then we'll bring you the play-by-play call. Yours truly, we have the play-by-play. Deets will analyze it. This is going to be fun.
That'll be fun. That'll be must-see TV. And
yeah.
again, to bring it back to bring it full circle of what we're talking about, that's kind of what that's what the USFL, the XFL, that's what they need.
Yeah.
They need great play-by-play. They need to find fun things to do. They need to do it differently. You can't do and to everybody's comparison. You can't compare the to the NFL. You can't do what the NFL does. You can't just be, all right, we're going to be NFL light, and we're gonna be the NFL. You have to have something different. It's why the original XFL. What I'm talking the Vince McMahon version.
2001.
It was for all the mistakes that they made. The one thing that they did that worked was it was different. It had a different production feel to it than watching it. You got to see the sidelines. You got to hear the play calls. You got to, it was more focused on player coach interactions. You got to hear you got to see all of that stuff that you don't get to see in an NFL game.
True.
And that's where the XFL and the USFL can separate themselves and say, yes, we're not the NFL. We're different. We're going to give you more of this. We're going to give you, we're going to give you more sideline stuff. We're going to give you more in-depth, have people who, and I know, look, Joel Klatt is fantastic on college football on Saturdays. Yeah. I love Joel Klatt. I love listening to Joel Klatt call games. But you're never going to get it. Joel Klatt, when somebody says, oh, hey, there's Joel Klatt, no one's ever going to say, hey, there's Joel Klatt, USFL announcer.
Right.
They're always going to say, there's Joel Klatt, college football analyst, college football analyst, college football Saturday.
Yeah.
Until the USFL has their guys in that are, Kurt Menefee is always going to be Sunday NFL Sunday Fox NFL Sunday.
Fox NFL Sunday.
He's not going to be ever announced as, hey, here's the lead call guy for the USFL. For the USFL, that's never going to be his title. It's not going to happen.
If we could get our platform on it, and I sent a quick message on LinkedIn to Darren, who is in charge of media relations for the USFL. I mean, Dietz and I could hop on, use separate cameras, and we can call the action. And it's nothing against Fox. It's nothing against Joel Klatt, nothing against Kurt Menefee, but it's like you said, Dietz, the new media is here, and we're using it. We're using it.
And again, it's nothing on those guys. Those guys do a fantastic job.
Yeah,
those guys do a great job. They do a they're true professionals at what they do.
Yeah, they've been.
But again, if you're the league, the people that are watching at home, they need to connect with somebody. They need to connect with what they're hearing.
Yeah,
and if what they're hearing is guys who call games on Sundays, guys who call games during the NFL season, guys who call games during college football, it's the same. It's the same old thing. It's the same old thing.
Yeah,
and at some point, everybody gets burnout. Everybody gets burnout. It happens to everything. You can't watch something 300. You can't watch the same thing every weekend. Right. And go, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's not going to happen. You have to connect with the people that you're seeing. So I think that's a way that the USFL could do it. Now, the tricky part is siphoning off of the Kurt Menefees and Joel Klatt and getting to those second tier guys and being able to make sure that they're able to handle it.
You're not going to get Kevin Burkhardt to do USFL games, because Kevin Burkhardt is the lead voice for the NFL now, with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman now at ESPN. You're not going to get Kevin Burkhardt to do a USFL game, because the two that do it for Fox, and folks, correct me if I'm wrong, Be Easy, that dude's in the house with us. Michael Washington is in Augusta, Maine. I think the two main announcers that they have are Kurt Menefee and I want to say Kevin Kugler, who do the play-by-play for the USFL.
Is it Kugler now? Because they had Joel Klatt last season.
Yeah, I think Joel Klatt is with Kevin Kugler on Fox. I think it's Klatt and Kugler on Fox. Y'all see me looking over here. I'm looking at my dog Lucy, who I just let out for.
Again, again, those are the guys. Those are the people. Those are the people that are going to sell. That are going to sell your product to, because those are the people those are the first things people think of, and you can go back to us growing up, but there's a reason why the video game is called Madden.
Yeah,
it's not called. It's not. It wasn't about a player. It was about John Madden was the voice of football.
Yeah,
everybody knew. You mentioned John Madden, you immediately went to football. You immediately went to NFL football. That was the picture in your mind, and that's why the game. That's why the video game is called what it is, and it still resonates today with people. That's something that the USFL and the XFL, they have to separate themselves. They have to separate themselves from the pack. They have to be something different. They have to be an alternative to what we're seeing. And to go back to what people are doing, the XFL their mistake was trying to go against March Madness. That was the mistake of their season. They need to schedule better. They need to schedule better and understand that you cannot play Saturday and Sunday during March Madness. You cannot put those games. You have to find a new way to get those games out, because I don't care who you are. You're not watching the XFL when there's a March Madness game on.
No.
Because you saw the viewership was fine the first 2 weeks. Then March Madness hit, and you had a month of every single article was viewership is down in the XFL. Well, duh, everybody's watching. All the sports fans are watching their bracket. And even non-sports fans are watching their bracket. Every single person does a bracket. There's not a company out there that doesn't have a bracket pool. Just for the office. They might do like a little fundraiser thing. It might be like a $5 entry fee, and winner gets a gift certificate to somewhere.
Right.
Every place I've ever worked has done a bracket. Even people who don't care. I know people who have never watched a college basketball game in their life. Oh, yeah, I filled out a bracket. I picked based on the color of their uniforms or the team name.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, that works. You're not going to be able to compete with that.
No, you're not. Chris Deet's joining us here this afternoon here on the Brian Snow Show, talking all kinds of sports, XFL versus USFL. And with the XFL, their championship is Saturday, and it's in prime time, or actually it's at 3 p.m. and it's at the Alamo Dome. We talked a lot about attendance and how St. Louis, broke every kind of record XFL wise for attendance, but the game is being held in San Antonio. You mentioned something that's very, very good and very, very poignant, that should the championship game have been held in St. Louis, they would have gone up against the St. Louis Cardinals, and a lot of fans would flock to the Cardinals game and not the XFL game. In case of that, if the Cardinals play in the afternoon, can the XFL and this is for future reference and future reference only. Can the XFL schedule a Saturday night championship in St. Louis in case the Cardinals play in the afternoon, or is it just too risky to play the championship in St. Louis, even though the fan support is there?
I think the fan support for St. Louis is for St. Louis. If St. Louis is not in the championship game, I guarantee you, every single person in St. Louis is going to go, well, we're going to the Cardinals game.
You got a point.
We're going to the Cardinals game, and we're not going to worry about the XFL when it's the Washington Commanders and whoever else is in Seattle
and
or whatever.
Arlington Renegades.
Yeah, you name the team. If it's not St. Louis, I get
they're not.
That was the problem. That was the problem with the St. Louis Rams was if. Yeah, they would show up for Rams games, but if the Ram game goes against the Cardinals game,
they're going.
You're not winning. You're not winning that battle. You're not winning that battle in St. Louis. It's just not happening.
They're going to the Cardinals game.
So to have this game in San Antonio that's a perfect spot. The Alamo Dome is a perfect spot for this game because they don't have anything else. They don't have anything else going on.
Right.
And it's Texas. And you have a Texas team in it. So I would imagine they get a pretty good turnout.
I would imagine so, with the Arlington Renegades playing for the championship. Part A, Part B, them knocking off the number 1 seed in the South Division in the Houston Roughnecks in Houston. They knocked them off in Houston. Now, a fun question, and I want folks in the chat to answer this also. A fun question. Will the beer snake make its way to San Antonio from Washington, D.C.?
I don't see why not. I don't see why it wouldn't. If you're involved with the DC Commanders, I mean, you should be getting those people there. You should be. Those people supported you the entire season, and I know more about the beer snake guys than I do about the players on your team.
Right.
So if you're the DC Commanders, the smartest thing would be to bring those guys and say, "Hey, we'll front you. We'll bring you down. We'll get you a hotel. All you guys have to do is get to the game, and we'll support you. We'll get you there somehow, because that's what made the XFL fun. Is you saw people enjoying the time, and you said, "Oh, all right. I guess I can tune in for this because people are enjoying it." And that's what we talked about before. It's a psychological thing. You see people enjoying it, you're going to go, I want to enjoy that too.
Yeah. Well, the longest beer snake was for their division championship when they absolutely demolished Seattle in their division championship. So I would expect the beer snake to make its way down to San Antonio. Last question of the day. How big of a crowd do you think it will be at the Alamo Dome Saturday night or Saturday afternoon?
I think I don't expect them to fill up the arena. I think they'll black out. What stadiums usually do is they'll block off the top. They'll block off the top. You've seen it in Oakland. You've seen Oakland do this a bunch of times.
Yep.
Where they block off the upper decks, and that way all the fans are focused into one area.
Right.
I think if they have 75% capacity, I think that would be a win for them.
So we're looking at about what, 30,000 for Saturday?
30,000. Yeah. And I think that again, if you block off the top and you just compact everybody into you compact everybody, it visually it makes it look a lot better. It makes everything, because if you open up the whole stadium, obviously people are going to look at it and go, wow, there's nobody there. But if, like Ryan just said, you curtain off the top decks, you focus everybody into the areas behind the end zones and behind the teams. Now it just visually you can trick people, and you can pull those tricks to make people go, oh, there's more people caring about this than there actually is. But I think people will tune in just because it's a championship game.
Yeah.
People will obviously, people in DC, people in Arlington will be invested. And the key is to get other people. The key is to corral normies in. How do you get normies in? You have to have something that gets them to go, wow. And the beer snake is perfect. Like that. You highlight that, you do packages on that, you keep an eye on it. You almost have like a beer snake cam. That lets people know.
They had that in DC. They had that in DC all year. They had that in DC all year. The beer snake cam, and it was its longest, as I said, at the North Division championship game against Seattle. So there you go.
Yeah. So if you and what that does is it lets people know, hey, if I do go to these games, I can everybody wants to be involved in the game. Everybody wants to be seen. Go to any sporting event. What do people want to do? They want to be on the Jumbotron. So if you start highlighting the fans, people go, hey, if I show up, I could be one of those people. I could be that guy. I can get my image out there, and that helps. That's promotion you don't have to pay for.
Let's say good afternoon to Tim. Tim, let us know where you're watching and listening from, so we can give you a proper shout out before we close up shop. And Ryan McCarthy had a very, very good point. I wonder if they did this to cut costs too. It would cost more to rent the entire stadium than the lower bowl. Do you agree with that?
I don't know. I don't know finances. I have no idea. If it were my stadium, I wouldn't care. I would be like, you're renting the stadium. It doesn't matter if you're doing the entire thing or half the stadium. Like if you're playing there for the day, you're renting it for the day. It's one flat fee. I'm not. But it's like I said, I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
more.
I don't know.
That's why people go to accounting school, and that's why people have those kind of degrees, because that's their job. That's their job to figure it out.
Yep. Yeah, it is their job to figure out. What you got coming up this week, man?
I'm working on right now. I got my Guardians 3 review, which I'm working on. Hopefully get it out tomorrow. For setting the scene this week. We're focusing on Guardians, but it's becoming a page turner. So,
okay. So
I'm trying to work on that. Hopefully tomorrow at some point I'll get that out there.
You've already warned me that I need to clear the morning for your Guardians.
Thursday. We got Thursday. We always have something, but there's so much going on in the world right now that, and we talked about this a little bit. We talked about this a little bit off the air, but it's, we talked about the media and just what media is now of this media trend of, oh, your video has to be a short. to get promoted by YouTube. Well, no, a short doesn't do anything. It doesn't answer any questions. It doesn't help. And so many people are drawn to this idea of, oh, you know, we have to answer a complex situation. We're going to give you 5 minutes to go on it. And after 5 minutes of listening to somebody talk about something, I'm like, all right, I want to hear them expand on this. I want them to flesh their thoughts out.
Yeah.
And they're like, you got your 5 minutes. We're going to move on from whatever you're talking about. We're going to go to the next topic. And it's like, wait, you didn't finish the last topic. You left it hanging.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Why don't you hop on tomorrow?
A lot of that's going on.
Yeah.
I do have to say this now, man.
Mm-hmm.
The draft is over.
Yep.
So you know what's coming down the pike on Fit Down Sports Show.
Yes, I do.
It means the sun is out. The sun's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
The temperature's rising.
Mm-hmm.
That means we're getting closer to the summer of greatness.
Yes, indeed.
Greatness is coming. So the draft is over. So we'll get our draft thoughts out to close out the draft. And then we start Fit Down. We start working on the summer of greatness, and it
can't wait.
You guys will be a big part of. You guys will be a big part of that. Our chat will be a big part of that. Everything. We're the summer of greatness is about bringing everybody together: sports fans, movie fans, comic fans. Bringing everybody together and just having fun with the discussion of who's the greatest, what's the greatest, and that's why we do it every summer. And it's one of the funnest things we've ever been a part of.
There are a couple of summers I've been a part of the summer of greatness. I absolutely love it. I can't wait for this edition. Why don't you hop on with me tomorrow at 2:30 and we'll expand on the media discussion with the YouTube shorts and the 1 minute clips and things like that. We are running overtime. We got to go. We'll be back tomorrow. Ty Collins will join me to talk about #1 Wake Forest in college baseball, and Dietz will join at 2:30 to talk about the new media and how it can be better. God bless y'all, and so long.
Thank you for tuning into The Brian Snow Show, where sports is the base, life and fun are the results.